This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Mike Irwin is here from Pig Trail Nation. Mike, we appreciate you joining us as always. How are you today?
Well, just trying to figure out more problems, from last weekend. You just, you read everything you can, listen to different opinions. Guys, the internet is not full of idiots. There are fans out there that come up with some pretty good stuff. And I was just reading one post on Twitter from a guy who basically said, you took a run-pass quarterback who is used to moving around a lot, a guy that doesn't really go through progressions very well, generally looks for one or two receivers, like Treylon Burks, in those first 2 years. And you've taken him and put him in the role of a pocket passer, but you don't have a running game and you don't run pass block very well, so what do you think is going to happen? And I think that sort of basically sums it up. I mean, I'm not willing to say, the more I watch this, that it's all on Enos. I think if they had a better offensive line, this would still work. Maybe it's not the best fit for KJ. But when you look, guys, sometimes you have to put things in perspective. Sports is one of the only things that we do as human beings where you can come close, but if you don't, you're terrible. I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a Baylor fan. I grew up with him. His dad went to Baylor, and he watches the Big 12, but he watches all the football games, and he knows about Arkansas. And he said, in which of these last four games, which, by the way, was an unbelievably tough schedule with all those teams you're playing away from home, in what game were they blown out? If I told him fans have the feeling that this is spiraling out of control, and he said, I'll tell you spiraling out of control is when you get hammered, when you're losing games and you're getting hammered. He said, these are all close games. They were all winnable, a break here, a break there. Maybe you win the game. He said, I can understand not being happy, but you do have issues. You do have some things that could maybe solve the problem. But it's not like this program has just gotten so bad that they can't beat anybody. So, what I do is I just try to absorb a lot of different concepts from different people and try to figure out where I'm sitting here right now to analyze this stuff.
Yeah, Mike, when looking at this team, the more I watch them on defense, I'm a Travis Williams fan. He might be. He looks like he's going to be a head coach someday. What does this team have to do, Mike? Because I'm not going to give up until you tell me that we don't have enough games to get to 6. What do we have to do if we're going to fix it before it gets too late?
Well, it was interesting because Sam was just in his I was reading on Twitter again some tweets from the press conference. He was talking about movement again by the defense. See, teams have been doing that since the first game of the year. And DJ Williams, who's on our game day show and does a really good breakdown every week with video, he did a fantastic job of breaking down the video from the A&M game and showing how many times there was a missed blocking assignment where two linemen ended up blocking one guy, or a running back blocks the wrong person. It looks like to me they're in these meetings and they're not coming out of these meetings and taking it to the practice field and knowing their assignments. Blocking is complicated. I mean, when a defense is shifting, there are rules that you have to follow. And, people think offensive linemen are dumb. The good ones are anything but dumb. They've got to make a lot of decisions. And it just looks like to me that this group of guys, they're missing blocking assignments. And I think that turns this whole thing around if you block better. There were moments in that Ole Miss game when the blocking was better, especially after Pittman went back to his original alignment of guys. There were moments when they were moving down the field, things were working, and then all of a sudden you get the ball back and it would go completely backwards. And I think some of this is KJ. It's just, Matt, I mean, this as a player. If you have success, it gives you confidence and you are decisive in your decision making. But if all of a sudden things are going wrong and you're not exactly sure why, it's got to get into your head. It slows you down. You make the wrong decisions. On that last field goal Arkansas settled for, you go back and look, KJ, the entire left side is open for a touchdown, 6, 7, 8 yard run into the end zone, you score. He didn't see that. He went straight into where the tackle was and tried to push himself over the goal line. He just made a bad decision to me because his head's not clear right now.
Yeah, when your quarterback gets hit a lot, you kind of make some decisions like that. I don't know. I think that's who he is, though, Mike. I think he's going to try to run over you instead of try to beat you to the edge. I thought it is kind of. I'd like to see him giving that to the running back, though. I don't understand that why KJ's best run is it comes off a pass play. He's not really. You don't really need to design running plays for him unless they're short yardage plays to get first downs.
And what happened to this movement that they had used there for a while?
The linemen are taking bad steps. You're right, man. They're running into each other this late in the year. They'll be stepping with the wrong foot, and they're kind of bouncing off each other. It's hard to watch sometimes.
Yeah, and again, where is the movement by KJ? You know, we were all told, okay, they moved him around more. And I agree with you. When he gets out on the edge and he can see better and he's on the run and he can look for those one or two guys, because everybody's saying he lost his go-to guy when Oz got hurt. Well, now he's got a new go-to guy, Ty Washington, who did a good job. But you got to get out on the edge where you can see better. Trying to stand in the pocket and throw a 7-yard pass into double coverage, it does not work. And, to me, there are things that they can do, but you don't see them doing these things. It's coaching, and I don't want to just continue to sit here and hammer coaching, but if fans can see it, I don't know why coaches can't see it.
I think you pointed out like a drive that they had near the end of the second to last drive, the one before KJ's second interception on Saturday, and they were moving the ball down the field with success, but then all of a sudden you're down at the 2-yard line. There's a false start that gets in the way, and it throws everything into chaos at that point. And I wonder about like the line, the players on that offensive line, like they must feel to themselves like some of this is a lot of the record is on us. You know, they know the defense is playing well. They know that they're struggling. And pass blocking is one thing. You missed assignments and another and all of that. But 14 false start penalties in the last 4 games. 14 of them. I mean, to me, that almost says, especially when it's coming from experienced players like Limmer or Latham, I wonder if they're feeling pressure, maybe that they're putting on themselves to be perfect in a sport where you just can't be perfect.
Well, it's got to have an effect, just like it's affecting KJ. It's also got to be affecting them, because you're right. They're not stupid. Game's over. They realize they made mistakes. They realize a lot of what's happening when your head coach stands up in a post-game press conference and says, if you can't run the ball, you can't run this offense. Well, that involves them. Somebody asked me, well, why didn't they, if Enos had been hired earlier, could they have gone in the portal and gotten more linemen? I mean, are you talking about back in December? You don't have time to worry about that. I think the thing you ask yourself is, there is a period when you can still bring in people after spring football, and a lot of us saw some of these O-line problems in the red-white game. So it's not like that wasn't there. So was there any effort to make some changes then? If so, they passed on it. So apparently both the offensive line coach and Sam Pittman and Dan Enos all thought they could get this O-line thing fixed, and it just hasn't been fixed.
Yeah, it's kind of, is it technique or is it not knowing what to do, knowing your assignment? You kind of wondering, and maybe it's a little bit of both. Mike, did you?
Well, it's a little bit of both, but watching DJ's breakdown and seeing all that stuff, it looks like to me a lot of it is missed assignments.
Yeah, did you get a chance to watch the Sunday night football game, Dallas at San Fran last night?
Yes, I did. It was what I thought it was going to be. You know, again, I thought Dallas's defense would be a little better than they were, but I mean, come on, that's just a one. First of all, the Niners are really good.
Oh my goodness!
But they kind of put Dallas in his place. I mean, you kind of go, okay, back to being another year for the Cowboys. You know, I told you, man, I gave up on. I grew up I was a big Bullet Bob Hayes fan when I was about 12 years old. Man, I love the Cowboys, but this is hard watching this stuff. I kind of backed off a few years ago, and I'm waiting for some reason to make me get interested again. And I was sort of getting interested, and came that Arizona game, and now this, and you're just going, ugh.
You got to be able to run the ball. That's Dallas couldn't do it last night, and I don't know, Mike, what Arkansas has to do, but we have to find a couple run plays that we can go to, and we don't have an identity on offense.
Oh, I absolutely, 100%. The running in this game was, guys, it's not like they were playing A&M. I mean, Ole Miss's defense going into that game did not have a tremendous. They were maybe not as suspect as LSU's defense, but this wasn't one of the better defenses in the SEC, and you can't run on those guys at all. That was really strange.
Was there any update on any injured players in Sam's presser, which I think might still be going on, but there are a lot of guys on the defensive side that left the game in the second half, and that's some of your better players.
There hasn't been any. Not since I've started talking to you guys. I haven't seen any tweets to that effect. We'll know something a little bit later on when they come back from this press conference, but hopefully it'll be good news. I keep telling myself, the way this year has gone and as crazy as it's been, maybe this is the year in which you finally jump up and beat Alabama. Everybody thought there's no way Alabama wins. They just can't keep winning, but they do. In a year in which they really don't have the overall talent they normally have, Nick Saban still got them at the top of the SEC West. So maybe they overlook Arkansas, and this is the year.
BetOnline is your #1 source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.